Good afternoon all and welcome to a very sunny Sydney Harbour for Heats 5 and 6 of the New South Wales Championships. And with Pete Shipway away this week, I'm Jimmy Bury, and hello to all our loyal friends watching from Australia and around the world. What promises to be another spectacular day in Sydney Harbour. Joining me in commentary today is Pat Langley and Phil Barnett. How are we, team?
Very good, thanks, Jimmy. Mate, always a pleasure to be out here with the Sale Media team, and what a great day we got today.
Yeah, Jimmy, thanks for having me back. Looking forward to this race. Heats 5 and 6 of the New South Wales State Championships. We've currently got joint leaders at the moment, and with 2 races today scheduled, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's promising to be a good day. We've got a little bit of breeze. What are we seeing around the traps, Pat? You've had a bit of a sticky week?
Yeah, look, the forecast for today, they were sort of talking more sort of nothing over 10 knots, but the sky certainly cleared up, and we're starting to see some pretty nice pressure lines coming down with a bit of a shift to the southeast. So my feeling is I think we're going to have a pretty good day of sailing here on Sydney Harbour. We're 15th of December, so we're starting to move into that real classical summer sort of period with weather systems. So I think though today it's going to be a tricky day. I think eyes out of the boat, and certainly, the person that's going to stay under pressure is going to do the best.
Yeah, just looking at the breeze there, we were all hoping for sort of just a light day, but there's some pressure lines coming through. It's going to suit probably the heavier crews. We're not seeing a great shot of the Opera House there at the moment, and we just can't see the flags on top of the bridge, but they're sort of southeast at the moment, and probably this breeze will swing slightly east as we go through the afternoon.
Yeah, I think everyone in the boat park's gone for big rigs today. I'll correct myself if I see anyone without that, but we've seen a few this year that have opted for the smaller rigs for various reasons. But no, everybody here looks to be on the big rig today, so it's all about horsepower. And I think it's pretty. We're talking about the point score in the New South Wales Championship. We've got a tight race at the top with Rag and Famish and Finport, and we're just looking on the screen now with the scoreboard there. So in 3 points on tied for first is Finport Finance and Rag and Famish. Obviously only 2 races counted so far. They will get 1 drop if we complete the full series here from here on in. In 3rd place we've got Yandu on 7 points, followed by Smeg on 8, Balmain on 9, and look, we've got to mention the mighty Vycobi boat. Both Cub and I have a bit of a stake in that fine ship on 12 points, and they'll be looking to improve on that today.
There's mighty Vycobi on screen now, Pat.
There she is, just settling in. It might be a worthy mention here. We're talking about Heats 5 and 6, but only 4 races in the point score system. Races 3 and 4 were the week before. We had that big westerly storm come through, and a lot of the fleet was decimated. And in the starter, in his wisdom, decided that was enough racing, or there was no racing actually on the day with the further storms forecast in the afternoon. So we're not going to have that problem today by the looks of it. And we're very excited about this being out here with you guys, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys out. We've been talking about getting you guys out here, but with Dolly on sabbatical, went to Mungo Brush and haven't seen him since. So he'll be back next week, and Shipper will be back next week. So it'd be good to have you guys on for today and get a different perspective on what you guys see.
What about Shippo? Mate, he's sailing the old Love and War today, I understand, in the series at the CYC. So good. I hope he does well there.
When we came over just after lunchtime today, Cubby, they were in the lead at that point in time on the mighty Love and War.
I also want to mention too, I was watching the big boat coverage during the week that you guys got out there, and someone said he was the messiah of the commentary. So there we go. And it might have even been Gordon Bray who gave him that mention.
Well, let's sort of talk about the race field today, and there's been a few little changes throughout the fleet just announced this morning. So we'll try and run them as we sort of see the boats. But I guess one of the more notable ones that was mentioned, which will have an impact on today's racing, is Yandu with Mika Lane stepping in for Woody, John Winning Senior, and we believe that is a permanent move for the rest of the season. So that's quite an influential change, I think, which will impact on the fleet. You know, obviously the performance of the team when Mick is there during the JJs last year, fairly significant.
Well, Pat, I sat down with Woody just before we came out and had a little bit of a chat about his retirement, and yes, he's definitely official. John Winning has retired at the age of 72. He did, however, want me to mention that he is still the current High Sierra 18-foot skiff champion. And the reason he is still that champion is because it was only raced once in Lake Tahoe in the States. So he's very proud of that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but a great stellar career for John Woody Winning, like still racing a skiff at 72. I don't know, he gets out of bed on a Monday.
Oh, it's unheard of, and I don't know if anyone will actually ever match that feat. And how he's been able to, you watch him sail the boat and how he has managed to work on different techniques to execute it. It's incredible, really. I'm in awe of watching him sail, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Probably, you know, with his senior's card in his pocket.
Well, I'm sure we're still gonna see lots of Woody around, but wow, what an 18-foot skiff career from him.
So just on screen at the moment, we've got the 6 18-foot skiff, Jacob Marks, Alex Marinelli and Matt Doyle. So they haven't had the greatest of starts to the season. I've been watching a few of the races since the season kicked off, so I'd like to see them do a little better today. It's always a little bit easier when it's a bit lighter, the breeze.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, that team, because last year they were collectively together on the Royal Oak, and they had some amazing performances last year.
Yep.
When I speak to the guys in the boat park there, they do seem to be talking about boat work a lot with this new boat this year. It was obviously a new boat last year, but they do seem to be still trying to get their systems working to their favour. So, look, I'd definitely keep an eye on these guys. They're a real solid team. So
Yep.
they'll come good. But yeah, I think they just got to reacquaint themselves in this new boat for them, and they've certainly got the ability to be up there.
Yeah, a lot of new sales for them this year, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. In the background of this shot here, you'll see the kitchen maker. So, new hull for the kitchen maker guys this year. So, Lachlan Steele, Jerome Watts, Darcy McCracken. Same again, haven't had many points on the board early this season, so still plenty to come from them.
But every now and then you do see some moments of brilliance from these guys. You know, they certainly know how to get a boat around a racetrack. So, yeah, I think it's all about consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, the boats are all pretty similar. It's basically a one design class with, you know, a little bit of chopping and changing with sailmakers and rig tuning and things like that. So, on their day, some of these boats, you know, have got every chance of winning.
Absolutely. Now, just on screen there is actually another boat we really want to talk about, the Rag and Famish. Once again, we won't be seeing Harry Price on the helm today. He has an MCL injury, and I believe he won't be back until after Christmas on the 18-foot skiff. So today he has been replaced by Josh Perebski. Many will be familiar with Josh. He's been sailing 18s for a long time. He's done a lot of sailing. He's Kiwi, originally from New Zealand, and
It's normally where Kiwis are from, isn't it?
thank you, mate. Thanks for picking me up on that little slip. We love our Kiwi friends, and but yeah, certainly. Look, they were obviously on fire last week. They had James Doran helming last week, and they were very sharp. This week we've got Josh. So Josh is obviously sailing with the normal guys of Max Paul and Tom Anderson. So pretty interesting.
So there's Yendu with Mick Lane at the helm, with very ably assisted by Fang Warren and Lewis Bray. Now there's two very experienced crew people there, and we're current JJ Giltnam champions. So now just sort of warming up really for the JJs after Christmas. We'll see how they go today. I don't think they've lost any talent. They'd almost go out to be favourites. Yeah,
you'd think that the bookies would have them pretty much favourites today, but let's see. Obviously Finport and the Rag are in form at the moment, certainly. And speaking of Finport, today they've got their full crew back. Keegan York's back on the helm after Matt Stenter filled in for him last week.
Ably,
yes.
A stellar performance by Matty.
Hey, he has lost nothing, hasn't he? He's sharp. Angus Williams and Phil Marshall, they'll be. They're really. I guess this is now when Keegan really starts to plan for his assault for post Christmas, and obviously they're travelling pretty well as it is. But you'll see these guys start to string some races together, and they'll certainly be sharp today.
I had a chat with Keegan just before we came out as well, just in the boat park, and Keegan was only telling me that him and Angus and Phil, this is the first time all three of them have sailed together this season. However, they have sailed together previously. So they're right up to speed with their crew, and crew work will just fall in behind that, I'm sure.
Certainly. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, and here we go on screen. We've got the mighty Smeg with Nathan McNamara on the helm, with Jed Cruikshank and Jack Taylor. Once again, these guys, and particularly on a day like today, I really expect them to be up in the front group. They're doing a lot of sailing every weekend. They're campaigning their 16-foot skiff out of Manly, 16-foot skiff club, and then backing up again on the Sunday on the Smeg. Certainly today in these conditions, I think they'll be certainly up in the front.
I was talking to Nathan also, and we were actually talking about sailing Sabos, the little one-handed junior class, just before we came out, and he remembers he sailed in the 50th Australian Championships in the Sabos, and I know the Sabos are just going into their 62nd Australian Championships at Drummoyne Sailing Club just after Christmas. So there's a lot of skiff sailors here today who cut their teeth on the mighty Sabos. So
Sabos have provided a massive wealth of talent to Australian sailing over the years. It's quite incredible. And I think that probably the key to that class, to me, appears that everyone has a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's good, Pat. And we've got Matt Fisher from Thurlow Fisher. He's become the sponsor for the 62nd Championship in conjunction with the Alex Palmer Race Week, which is for the 2-Ups juniors. So I'm looking forward to going down there and giving them a bit of a hand after Christmas. So.
On screen, we've just got Gotcha for Life, obviously still branded with Birkin Head Point Marina. I believe that will change soon. But with Will Dargaville, Josh Marks and Rob Pollock on board. Look, fantastic charity if anyone doesn't know about it, Gotcha for Life. One of our good friends, Shaw & Partners, or the CEO of Shaw & Partners, Earl Evans, is very good friends with Gus Warland, and we've managed to get to know Gussie over the years and what he's done for what he calls mental fitness for males, and what the stuff they're doing around Australia is incredible, and getting the message out to all the communities, and it really is an important charity, and I'm stoked to see Earl putting support for that to promote that charity here with the Australian 18-footer League. It's fantastic.
Yeah, amazing. There's the start boat, not quite into a start sequence yet, approximately 9.5 minutes. Looks like we're going to be doing the southeasterly course.
Short course, yeah.
Short course, which is going to take us. Where's it going to take us, Jimmy? It's going to start here in Athol Bay.
Yep, and up to laid mark in Rose Bay, then a little run down to Clark Island, back down here to Athol, back up to Rose Bay, and then come and finish back down here in Athol Bight.
Which will set us up for the next race after that.
Yeah, they changed the course for the finish area. They normally finish all these in the vicinity of Clark Island, but they've changed it obviously so we can get a quick turnaround for the second race, which is good to see.
So we're using the GPS marks today? The new
Mark Set Bot, Cubby.
Mark Set Bot.
Yeah, little remote control marks that duck around the harbour.
I was talking to Woz earlier, who's Minister in charge of everything, and he said they've got a target 40-minute time frame for each race. So there's going to be 2 short and quick laps, I'd say.
Yep, we've just got just over 8 minutes to go to the start. And last week we were delayed at the start because the spectator ferry wasn't out here on time, so we had a little postponement before that happened.
Well, it believes we won't have that problem today. I can see the spectator vessel and it's all its glory there. On screen, we've got the Shaw and Partners race team, helmed by Emma Rankin, and today she's actually running 4 up with Elliot Savalon, William Pole and Emily Reid. You know, I think it's fair to say it's been a challenging start for the year for Emma, and certainly, you know, the conditions have been pretty brutal for the first half of the year, and being on weight's one of the biggest challenges that Emma's got. So certainly great to see her going there.
One good thing about Emma, Pat, is she's always smiling, doesn't matter what's going on. So it's
she loves it, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Hugo Stoner on the Oak. As Pat was saying before, they had a pretty good season last season. They've had a couple of really good races this year, just outside the points at the moment, but still impressive. So with the Oak, Hugo Lemming and Ben Crawford's in today. Yeah,
good young talent coming through the class, right? And this is what I think the club's been really working hard on and still needs to keep working on. But it's great to see these good young guys coming through.
And just a little over 6 minutes before we get underway. For those who are not familiar with the start sequence, we'll see 5 red flags out of the back of the start boat. And as each flag drops, there's obviously a minute less. So at the drop of the last red flag, the boats will be underway.
With a big run-out tide, Cubby, which way are we wanting to go?
All right, so look, I had a little bit of a go at this yesterday. I was out racing, and look, they need obviously clear air, the boats. You don't want to get caught up in a bunch. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to be a bit gusty today, so I think they need to find their lane and they need to find a bit of a pressure line. So the run-out tide for this course is going to be right to left as we go up to the top. So not a great advantage. It's going to be pushing them up towards the top mark, the run-out tide. They need to stay in the pressure, keep themselves out of trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cub. And I think the other challenge, considering where we've got the start line positioned at the moment, in proximity to Bradley's Head, you know, I do envisage a fair few people getting some early tacks out to clear their air and get into this breeze line, which seems to be filling in a little bit from Clark and the other side of the harbour. But yeah, I agree with you. I think clear air is going to be key, and that outgoing tide.
Well, as Robert used to say, don't go where the breeze ain't.
If only it was that simple.
One of the big things about Sydney Harbour is traffic management, and there goes the 5-minute signal then. Just heard that off the start boat. So looking, you see the 5 red flags. But yeah, what I was going to say is a bit of traffic management. They've got coming up to Christmas now. There's a lot of charter boats out on Sydney Harbour. It's a beautiful sunny day here. We've got private vessels out, just having their afternoon swim and stuff. So there's not necessarily concentrating on fast-moving skiffs. So the crews need to be well aware of what's going on around them.
Yeah, it is a pretty awesome time of year when you think about it, with the Sydney Hobart preparations happening, and obviously, you know, club racing in the last couple of Sundays and Saturdays for the year. The harbour certainly gets packed.
Yeah, good situational awareness will hand you a few places today, I think. So just coming up to 4 minutes before the start of this race. That's the Gotcha for Life team on camera as we speak.
Yeah, so you can just see the breeze is puffing in. I think in the puffs it's probably pushing up to sort of 9, maybe even 10 knots. And then some of the holes around are, under 5. So certainly some things there. Now on screen we've got the Burrowang Hotel. Now that team actually has the oldest skipper on the water today as well as the youngest sailor, all on the one boat. So
Simon Nern, the club commodore.
absolutely.
Max Nern, his son, and Cam McDonald.
And Cam needs no introduction. How many seasons do you reckon Cam McDonald's been going around for? Cam, you'd be the one to be able to tell me.
Oh, look, he was around when we were sailing the Xerox and started to help us out with a few sails there, him and back in the day. But so like that's back in the mid-90s. So there you work it out. Like we're nearly 20 years at least.
I think he
Try
loves
not
it.
to date yourself there, Cubby.
Yeah, well, I'm trying.
Well, I think we might have to come back to Cub in the break to talk a little bit more about
Definitely.
some of the 18-foot skiff history. We've got lots of good stuff going on. And then we've got Noakes on screen there. We've got Beck Hancock, Cam Walker and Rory Cox. Obviously the other boat in the field that's helmed by a female, which is fantastic to see. And I think Beck's really put a big effort in this year, and I think we'll enjoy the conditions today.
All right, now we're coming up to 2 minutes to go. Time now, boys, for a selection.
Selection.
A selection time. If it puts you... I think we all know who Pat's going for.
Well, Vycobi, of course.
Well, I think that rules both of you out there, Cubby. Which is son.
If we couldn't back Vycobi, who are we going for then?
That's right.
Well, the bloke that we had on here yesterday commentating for the 16s talked up a big game, being Keegan on the Finport.
Okay, Keegan.
But I'd like to see how the Yandu jumps out in this first one. I'd be very keen to see how those boys gel back together. So I think I'll take them for this first one.
Yandu. Now, listen, I'm going to throw another one in the mix. I like their early form. Lazarus should have won a race in the early part of the season, and they had a mischievous capsize when they led quite substantially. So I'm actually, we'll let Pat have the Vycobi. I'll take the Lazarus, and Jimmy, you're on the Yandu.
Yes, mate.
All right, locked in.
Good doing business with you boys.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're just coming up to 1 minute before the start, and most of the fleet are all positioned up at the windward end, except for the Rag and Famish, which is...
you can't even see them on screen. They're that far in towards the zoo.
Looks like quite a short start line to me.
200 metres
Yeah.
is what it is, Cubby. I've got the comms through from the start boat.
No, okay. It looks like a short 200 to me.
Yeah.
A lot of boats just really stacking up here on the windward end. I do believe there's going to be a couple of boats here that could be pushing the start.
I'm just looking too at the moment. We've still got one boat coming out of Double Bay.
So at this stage, it looks like the Rag and Famish is gearing up for a port tack start.
We got 10 seconds to go. There's a big mix-up down here. Big tangle at the boat end.
And
So looks like a clear start. Balmain were well advanced.
And the Rag and Famish didn't quite make that port tack approach and have had to tack onto starboard there.
So there's tightly bunched at the moment.
I like the start with 6, Scott. I think 6 looking pretty good.
Now, I think I like Lazarus being the windward boat.
Yep.
They're
That's
in
just
good shape also.
That's just because you tipped them, Cubby.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be riding them for big money on this. So there's a couple of boats heading out to the right-hand side, Burrawong, 18 Bar and Grill. But the main part of the fleet's definitely over here towards Bradley's. Just probably trying to look at a little bit of easterly lift off Bradley's.
just looking up the course, there's the Marine Outlet laid
Well,
off
they're the
the
ones
beach.
I was mentioning, still coming out of double bays. I don't know what's going on there. See if we can. Poor Rag and Famish just ducking a few boats there. That's not going to help their cause. But they've been sailing really well this season to date. They're definitely one of the form boats.
Okay,
All right.
just coming up to Bradley's Head here, so we're going to start to see some boats flop onto port. It'll be interesting to see how the field looks as they exit here.
Gotcha for life, holding their own.
Okay, just on screen, we're just seeing Yandu and Smeg tack onto port. But to weather of them and coming on the screen, you'll see Sixth and Balmain that are holding quite nicely. And Finport's just managed to live there as well, trying to stay in clear air for as long as they can. But Six and Balmain have done a pretty neat job here.
Finport's just tacked now and heading out towards Double Bay. There seems to be like a leading four at the moment. Six, Balmain, Finport and Lazarus. Yandu's tucked away just behind that leading group. Shaw and Partners coming in front of us here. They're a little bit behind the 8 ball at the moment. Now, do you think this breeze has lightened off a bit, Pat?
Yeah, I think, particularly here in the lee of Bradley's, she's a little lighter, but there's some puffs coming down. And, I think looking across the whole field, everyone's 3-stringing, looking fairly powered up. 4-stringing in this case here with the Shaw and Partners just off screen, unfortunately, just in front of us. But, yeah, on screen now, there they are, the Shaw and Partners, so they're 4-stringing. Funnily enough, I know that they didn't have the best start there, but they're actually in a nice little line of breeze here, and if they can hold their lane, they'll certainly make some gains.
Now, it's not the first time we've had 4 crew in an 18-foot skiff. In fact, they had plenty more at one stage and just slowly evolved. But 18-foot skiffs around my dad's era, the Bear, they all sailed with 4-hand, 4 on trapeze. It was,
Yes.
It's like stepping back in time, Pat.
The last one in the modern era was the Sea-Tech from New Zealand. Ginge had 4 up for JJ's out here at one point.
So just back onto our screen here, I just thought, Six has done a really neat job, and Balmain's just tacked. It looks like Six is actually taking the stern of Balmain, but they've had a pretty good exit out of Bradley's here and are well positioned. But probably the one to really mention is on the other side of the field, you've got Rag and Famish that took quite a lot of sterns early, but they've actually come out of the right looking pretty nicely. So there.
This is Nathan McNamara and the Smeg crew on screen. Now they're just sort of in the middle of the fleet at the moment. All the boats have come back from the right, have all converged again. So this is going to tell us a bit of a story about how the race is unfolding. It does look like Rag and Famish has a slight lead now.
Yeah, they certainly look like they're in a nice line of pressure, and I can certainly see some more pressure coming out of the right, which will probably give them a little bit of a boost.
So we're all heading for the mark in Rose Bay at the moment. So the nice long stretch for the Rag and Famish. You can just see in the distance that yellow marker. So they're right on the ley line.
Yeah, Rag and Famish definitely up in that pressure there. And you can just see Yandu just on their same line. So I think the whole fleet are now on starboard tack, making their way up to Rose Bay. And we're just getting some nice perspective as we move around to the right side of the fleet here. So you can really see the Rag quite punched out on the field there, but actually, fortunately for us, Cub, the Vicobie's having a good race as well. They're just starting to really emerge.
Look like they're on a little bit of a lift there, Pat. Now, the interesting part about this is this mark, the late mark up here in Rose Bay, is actually under the lee of Point Piper. So that's going to make the approaches to the mark a little bit interesting, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were talking about potentially shortening that Rose Bay mark so they didn't get up into the shifty pressure, so then they put it up under Point Piper instead.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to set it in the lee of the point.
Yeah.
All right. Rag and Famish have put the foot down.
They sure have. They sure have. Although we might have just jinxed them. They just got a little header, but they're off and running again. But I think you know, with this short course, it's very short beat, so it's going to keep the fleet fairly compressed today. So watch for lots of changes in positions, I'd say.
And I think the pressure's actually increased. There's a few gusts here. I'm seeing a few mainsails inside out, so you know, we've hit the 15 knot range here. I still think this top mark's going to bring a few undone.
Yeah, we're really seeing a bit of a jump here in this pack that we're just not seeing on screen. You know, the 4 boats you see on there with the Rag and Famish, Vicovey, Finboard and Balmain, they showed some pretty good boat speed there, and certainly have now almost created their own pack ahead. Yeah, do a little bit behind, just to weather and behind the Rag and Famish, so they're a little bit out of the running at the moment. Certainly the Rag and Famish looking very solid.
Yeah, top 3 Rag and Famish, Vicovey, then Finport. Probably followed by Balmain, as a bit of a guess. And a starboard rounding here at the Rose Bay mark.
But like you say here, Cub, it's pretty light right where this top mark is. There's going to be some a little bit more action, and to me probably the entry looks to be from the left side.
Yeah, Rag and Famish, they're only about 50 metres away from that top mark now. You can see it in the distance. They'll come around the mark here and set their spinnakers and head off down towards a late mark at Clark Island, which is just a short spinnaker run. So coming to the first mark now, Rag and Famish. Look, if he gets around cleanly, he's going to have a comfortable lead. He's going to maybe 15, 20 seconds. That's a fair bit in the skiff racing. Especially in such a short work too, Cup. Yeah. So he's laid that mark now.
Today skippered by Josh, I've got to get his name right, Perebski. Yeah, they're showing pretty good pace today.
Okay, maybe electing not to set a spinnaker here. It's the breeze is just a little bit in the south-southeast.
Okay, just on screen now in second place, Vicovey.
Fantastic.
Just going around today. It's the first time actually they've got their new jib on board together with their spinnaker in the number 1 rig configuration. And just coming here in third, we've got the Lazarus.
Lazarus followed by
the Kitchen
Maker. Well done.
Ooh.
And there's just a cluster here at the moment.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Yeah. Had to tack back onto port. Started rather.
5th is Balmain, 6 in 6. And Yandu just struggling a little bit in the lead.
And Finport in irons behind them. Dart Mills have struck.
Yeah, this is unfortunately this is what I was suspecting. Vicovey electing to main and jib reach to the next mark. It's quite a tight run to that next mark, so
I think we might head on down so that we can see what's happening, because as you said, Vicovey no spinnaker, the Rag got a spinnaker.
Well, if that's the mark I can see down towards Garden Island there, it's probably a wise manoeuvre. I think the Rag and Famish have sent the crewman in now to drop the chute. So, and Vicovey's put their chute up. Let's see who's right, who's wrong. They're not going to lay that mark. Bit of a game changer. All right, so still in the lead, Rag and Famish. He's dropped his chute.
I think the boys on Vicovey might have just realised it was the wrong move.
Vicovey sailing off down to the zoo. That's not going to stay up for very long.
No.
There he goes now. They're just gone in to drop the chute. Lazarus is going to sneak a place there. Up into second. Rag and Famish still leads the race.
And I think actually just back up to Weather of Vycovie, the just behind Lazarus. The sixth is looking pretty good too, so they may also grab another spot as well, with Vycovie having a lot of trouble getting the Spinnaker down there. But,
having a bit of trouble getting that tack line in off the bow, but they look pretty set now, Pat. All right, still a substantial lead to Rag and Famish. Second place Lazarus on screen. Tucked in behind them we can see the Vycovie.
Just got to go for cooler heads on the Vycovie and...
Yep, keep the ship rumbling. But yeah, Lazarus has taken second spot there, so looking pretty solid.
I'd say even 6 has moved up into third place, Pat. The looks of it.
Yep. I think you're right about that. So
that was not a Spinnaker run along there. A nice 2-sail reach for most of the boats. All right.
Lazarus.
6 is in third spot. A few place changes already in that leg. So Lazarus electing to jibe, set and run down to Athol.
As sixth by the looks.
Right, Lazarus, just a slight glitch with that chute. They're up and running now. Rag and Famish potentially might have gone too far down the course to lay the bottom mark, so we'll have to keep an eye on him.
It's just in line with the wharf at the Zoo Cup. Is the bottom mark.
Okay. We've got one of those pesky Manly ferries coming along as well. That'll be interesting. So currently Rag and Famish first. Second Lazarus with 6 in third, Vycovie fourth, Balmain fifth, and Yandu sixth. That'll be the top 6.
Yeah, Yandu did pretty well along there. Looked like they made some gains, so they're certainly charging through the fleet there.
Finport's got some chasing to do. He's very unlucky at that top mark. Ran out of breeze, got himself in irons, which stops the boat.
Yep.
They'll be disappointed in that first work.
So a long way down the track where we can see Rag and Famish, they do have a big Captain Cook cruiser's boat to navigate around. So I'm not...
He's there every week, Pat. He's on speed dial.
Speed dial. Well, anyway, the boys are going to have to navigate around him down the bottom. Looks like they're through and ahead, but hopefully the wind shadow doesn't bother them too much. But we now pretty much have most of the fleet on starboard jibe.
Notably, the breeze has dropped a couple of knots too. The boats that jibed straight on that last mark are probably going to have to put in a second jibe to get to the bottom mark, just with the way the breeze has gone a little bit lighter.
Plenty of traffic going on here. We've got one Manly ferry going one way and a Manly ferry going the other way. So plenty to navigate. 2 ferries, in fact. What's going on? Have you got these guys on speed dial?
Yeah, Pat. No, that's so.
I have noted though, Cup, that the ferry captains have been very good to all skiffs at both ends of the harbour. So
too much paperwork if something goes wrong.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Anyway, Yandu on screen. They're making a little bit of a move here. I think, like, we had them as 6 round that last mark.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got Rag and Famish that's going upwind in first place, already gone around the bottom mark. And coming down to that bottom mark now, we've got Lazarus that's kept...
Lazarus in second place.
He called that one today.
Well, I was hoping they might win, but it's still a long way to go.
Long way to go, certainly. But,
it looks like 6 will round in third place. He's got to do a jibe as well as finish dropping that chute, a slightly more difficult manoeuvre for the crew.
I think Vycovie's going to lose a spot here off Balmain if...
I'd say they'd have...
and they've managed to clear it.
Yeah, they're good.
So
Lazarus second, 6th third, Vycovie 4th, Balmain 5th. Followed closely by Yandu.
So Yandu would have been the biggest mover. Yandu and Finport, they've definitely moved through the fleet.
It's definitely got lighter down here at the bottom, Mark, and you can see the difference between the fleet at the moment. We've got Rag and Famish off to the left over near Bradley's Head, and we've still got some of the boats coming down from Clark Island. So that's a huge, in such a short race, it's a huge margin.
I think all those ferries just before have really disturbed the air down here. So quite a change in your settings.
So the boat that's doing better this week is the new Gotcha for Life. They're just on screen there to the right, holding their own there.
There's chutes coming in, so they'll
they'll get it down.
They'll be good here.
Plenty of time. I think the main thing for any of the crews here too is not to run past the mark if your chute's still up. You know, like once you go past the mark, you're dropping times two because you've got to come back. So, in all fairness, that wasn't a bad rounding. Burrowang coming in, they got their chute down there ready to go. Followed closely by the note with Beck. They're going to get their chute down. Breeze just picked up a little bit in front of us, but on a whole, it's very fluky.
Good rounding by Noakes there, looking nice and clean, ready to go. They're sailing well today. So remaining on this leg, we've still got the Royal Oak still to round, and I haven't seen Shore and Partners.
Shore and Partners, Pat, just up in sort of off
Double Bay
there. Looks like they're just setting their spinnaker at the top mark. So they
I did notice there was one boat capsized up there, Jimmy. Yeah. So it might have been the Shore and Partners.
And I can see the 18-footers bar skiff as well, so they could have been also in trouble.
So that's lap 1, heat 5, and nice comfortable lead there for Rag and Famish at the moment.
Just back up to the top mark and straight down to the finish.
Up to the Dardanelles straight up.
The Dardanelles, yep.
Fairly quick race, this one. Okay, so there we've got the Vycovie on port tack, just going upwind.
There's Rag and Famish, our leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rag and Famish really, they've really extended their lead from that, you know, that downwind run. They did a nice job, and there we've got Finport working their way through with 6 up to weather of them.
6 is hanging in there.
Yeah, they're having a great day, aren't they? 6 and Lazarus.
Well, I think we were talking before the race even started. They've been there and just out of the phase, and then all of a sudden, you know, this could be the best race of this season.
And yeah, there we can see Shore and Partners just coming downwind past Vycovie at the moment. So they've still got to get back down to Athol Bay.
18-footers bar and grill is just a little bit ahead of them as well. So, look, the bookie will be happy, I reckon. His favourite was Rag and Famish today, short price, 82 to 1. Balmain's just tacked.
They're having a good day too, actually. You know, they've got a nice clear air lane here, and the vast majority of the boats will tack on their weather hip. So certainly, if they can keep a nice clear air lane, they'll do well. But the boat just on screen now is Lazarus, who's in a clear second place behind the Rag and Famish, but they've got certainly a nice gap here. And
he's in a slightly higher lane, so he's closer to the next mark than Rag and Famish, but Rag and Famish is still well advanced on him. There's your current race leader just off Shark Island, Rag and Famish. They just passed another skiff which is capsized there by the looks of it.
Marine Outlet, Cubby.
Marine Outlet. They're not having a great start to the day. We're just in front of a couple of boats, and including 6 and Vycovie, so we'll just try and get out of their way. But So, about a 30-second lead for Rag and Famish at least.
At least, yeah.
Well, I think the choice for our Spinnaker will be a little easier in this next one.
Yeah, well, it's just no Clark Island mark, Pat, so that makes life easy for them.
Yeah, so straight back to the finish line once they round this mark.
You can just see Rag and Famish on the screen, so you can really see the difference in pressure. Just definitely keeping the guys on their toes today. They can go from 3 stringing to really having to have all weight in quite a quick time period. So
What you've got to be super careful of up here is with the way the breeze is swinging around the 0.5 metre headland. If they just get it slightly wrong and they get a gust from a slightly different direction, they could end up in a capsize. They really need to be smart at sailing up here. Although comfortable at the moment, anything can happen.
yeah, they've certainly got a massive lead. I think they can definitely cover a few issues, and they'd still probably get away with it.
So they're just, they're probably 100 metres away from this top mark, and they're in good pressure. The mainsail's just starting to flick inside out. They're going to tack and go from, say, 15 knots down to about 3 or 4 knots near the mark. So everyone needs to be careful.
They've just tacked onto port in their final approach to the top mark. But they look like they've got enough pressure to get around here pretty comfortably. Except for this little boat that's just emerging in front of the top mark. He might get an award, this
the Come Court
chap.
award.
Yeah, I believe Shippo's got a perfect name for it.
He got an invite to their Christmas party this year.
Did he? All right, Rag and Famish at the top mark for the last time. This time, instead of going to the Clark Island mark, they're just going to run straight back down to the finish. So they'd be pretty happy with their position there at the moment.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good, and you can just see Lazarus just coming up in second place.
Yep.
In a clear second place. They're looking pretty comfortable as well.
It's a 15-second lead at the moment to Rag and Famish, and Lazarus still got to attack and lay that top mark. So it's going to be half a minute, 40 seconds lead. What about the minor placings, Pat? What are we seeing? Any changes there?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a pretty good battle between Six and I think Vycobia and Balmain and Six of the 3 boats are probably pushing together here. Six is to my eyes clear third, but Vycobia will be pretty close. I think they're just slightly to weather of them.
Interesting. There's Lazarus has overlaid this mark a long by an absolute mile. Yeah.
Well, they have. Snag in the background, a shot that's just coming in. They're tacking off the lighthouse almost at.
Yeah, okay, so in second place, Lazarus.
And
They're going for a set.
just off screen, we've got a port and start with Vycobia and Six. I think Six has clearly crossed Vycobia there. A bit of shouting going on there, but I think Six look like they're pretty clearly through there. And I think if Balmain doesn't watch out here, they're going to lose. If Vycobia doesn't watch out here, Balmain's going to sail through to Lord of them.
Yeah, so not a great move there by the Vycobia. They've just probably dropped a couple of places there. They could have easily tacked and laid that top mark. Went hunting for the old Six, I think. All right, let's see who gets the best set here. A little wine glass with the Balmain. Six is away, clean. Vycobia's just getting the shoot on now. And here's the mover, the Yandu, right up behind them.
Yeah, Yandu's really coming up this pack, so could be interesting to see what happens on this run, whether they can move themselves onto the podium.
And followed closely by the Finport as well.
And Kitchen Maker just rounding as well right now. They're having a good race, followed by Smeg. So pretty compressed field once you sort of get into the pack. These short courses keeping most of the boats together. We're just going to move back down the course now to get close to the finish. And as you move away from the land here at Point Piper, you get a bit more clear air and the boats start to accelerate.
So this is heat 5. We're sticking around for heat 6. We've got another race to do once the boats all assembled behind the finish line. So we'll get to do it all over again.
This is a practice race, is it?
Yeah, just a warm-up then. There's a nice shot of the Kobe, Balmain and 6 all on screen.
Yeah. Great little battle between those three.
And that's the battle for second place. But I think Yandu is starting to push their way up too.
And so you're going to watch today because you can easily...
Finnport's had a bad job in the background, but they've not capsized, went very close.
And there's a Ragged Famish.
Race leader.
Clearly comfortable ahead there. There'd have to be a pretty major disaster to lose it from here.
Absolute cruise mode there at the moment, I think. So Josh is going to be pretty happy with his performance today.
Well, I tell you what, he's got high standards to maintain. You know, they're going very well, that boat this year. So
I think the boat's had more wins without Harry, hasn't it? That's probably a little unfair.
That's unfair.
I've watched the Rag and Famish closely this season, and they just came out of the box like a bullet. Now, the first race they won in that fresh southerly, the crew work's been amazing. So, hats off to Harry. I'm sure he'd like to be out there and instead of sitting it out with an injury, but he'll be back and then back strong.
Yeah, looking pretty good, and as is Lazarus as well. They're still clearly in second place, holding off that charging pack behind them. So if they can hold this one together, this would be a great result for them.
Rag and Famish just approaching the finish line now. So Josh, Max and Tom, congratulations. There's a race win. Current leaders of the state championships.
Yeah, that pushes them ahead of Finnport.
Yeah.
So
hopefully there's a few extra spots on the plaque to fit all the names that have sailed on the boat so far.
Going to scroll, I think.
Drop down scroll on the trophy. That's a new addition.
Look, Lazarus looks like he's going to hold out second place. There's not too many people challenging him. The race for third is still hotly contested, although 6 does seem to be holding on to that at this stage. Lazarus only about 150 metres from the finish line.
yeah, great sail by Tom Coonage, Roy Woodcock and Paddy Bannon. They've had a great race today, and yeah, you know, I think we've seen moments of brilliance from these guys this season, so really cool to see them put this one together.
Yeah, so just looking back up the fleet, Yandu sort of tacked away to nowhere or jibed away to nowhere then. They've lost some distance. 6, unless there's a catastrophic failure, are going to get third place in this race. Just on screen now. Balmain looks like they'll probably hold out by Kobe and pick up the 4th spot by Kobe then in 5th. So they like that 5th and 6th spot, the Kobe. All right, 6th is now finished in 3rd. Balmain shortly after 4th. Coming to the line now on approach is by Kobe, so they're 5th. And then 6 spots going to be hotly contested as well. We've got 4 boats coming to the line pretty much simultaneously.
Yeah, Yandu's still looking pretty solid there, but the kitchen maker's still in contention.
Okay. This is not going to be a great race for Finnport and the point score for the state championship, so they'll be a little disappointed about that.
Might have to get Matty Stenter back on board.
Okay, there's Yandu across the line. Now, Kitchen Maker's trying to soak down to the line. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. It's going to allow Finport get through. Oh, Kitchen Maker might even lose a spot to Smeg as well.
I think Kitchen Maker just got there, Cubby.
Yes, okay. And Gotcha for Life's done well. Yeah,
great race by them.
Yeah,
it's good for their confidence. You know, good crew, old boat, as you know, Cub.
Yep. Great work.
Well, hopefully we see more of these boys this year.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll wrestle that signage pretty shortly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes it harder for the commentators. Some more publicity. Look, they were a good sponsor when they were around, so good on them. Burrowing, just Simon Nern on screen. Starting, we've still got the Shaw and Partners at the top of the course, so we'll have to wait for them for the next start.
And looks like the Royal Oak right up the top.
Okay, and I noticed Marine Outlet had made their way back behind the start line, so they'll be ready and raring for the second race after being late for the first race and then having a capsize.
So just here you see Noakes with Beck Hancock coming in. Now they're just going to cross behind the Burrowang Hotel with Simon Nern. So a really good race there by Beck Hancock, I think. She should be pretty happy with that result. And just Burrowang crossing the line now.
They're through. Here comes Beck. She's only about 10 seconds away from her finish. And yes, Jimmy, I can see the Royal Oak in the distance. I believe that's the last boat that we're looking for.
I think I can see one, looks like it's just got up from a capsize up near the top mark, Cub, which looks like the 18-footers bar and grill.
Oh, stand corrected, Jimmy. Yes. Well, that's what I was talking about up there. It can get very fluky up there, and plenty of good sailors and everyone have come a cropper up there at some stage.
I think if you haven't, don't count yourself as an 18-foot skiff sailor.
Yeah, I definitely have.
And Shaw and Partners just coming downwind there now. Sailing 4 up today, and didn't quite see what happened to them at that top mark on the first lap, but clearly something happened. I'm not sure.
I'm guessing with that extra person in the boat too, Pat, like, just trying to get through the boat and, you're falling over each other, I guess, to a certain degree.
Well, I can speak from when there is the sponsors race. There's a real art to how you sail these things 4 up, and it's all about timing. So certainly, I think that can be challenging for sure. But I guess while we're waiting for these boats to finish, we probably should just recap that race. I think what was interesting to note was that the Rag and Famish obviously attempted their port tack approach, and they had all intent of getting to the right early, but they didn't succeed at first, but they did manage to get their way to the right, and they delivered a pretty clear dividend straight away.
Well, I think too, Pat, what happened is when they did get out to the right, we spoke about it before the race, they got some clear air and plenty of pressure at that as well. So when he's tacked onto starboard and started to head up towards Rose Bay, he was in the box seat. He was to weather of the majority of the fleet. He had good breeze and height, and he's just taken off, put the foot down.
Yeah, so I think that was a clear race-winning move by them. But I tell you who did really well out of that start and also that first beat was 6th. They really held a nice lane off the start and managed to sail all the way into Bradley's there, and then managed to get themselves out to the right. So, that put them in a good position to fight. But obviously Lazarus, so, they also did a really neat job keeping clear air up that beat. And
so there's a bit of difference. What we're seeing is Rag and Famish sailing well with both his number 1 rig and his number 2 rig. Some of the other boats have sort of got specialised number 1 rigs and their number 2 rigs aren't as good. So there's a bit of a mix amongst the fleet about who's doing well. Some of it's coming down to crew weight. Some of the guys are pushing I think 280 kilos gross, and some are down around the 200. So that's an extra
a big difference.
It's an extra person, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Crew,
really is.
crew weight and the height of that crew weight. Nice, tall crew is always a bit of a handy help as well.
We just got Shaw and Partners Financial Services just crossing the line now. And we still have on the racetrack the Royal Oak Hotel coming down. Should finish in the next couple of minutes, I would say. I think, obviously, we've got our Vycobi hat on, but the boys probably were in a pretty neat position there, but probably threw it away, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think that top mark last time, they probably could have tacked earlier and still laid the top mark and maybe saved a couple of spots there. So they just need to tidy that area up of the tight mark roundings are a big thing in skiffs. If you can get to that mark, get around, get away, you know, as I was saying before, if you go past the mark 20 seconds, you've got to come back that 20 seconds and it's just a disaster. So, yeah. Tight mark roundings.
Interesting. And there's the Royal Oak just making their final approach to the finish, which I think brings up... Oh, no, we still have the 18-footers... 18-footers bar coming downwind, so they'll be the last boat to finish. That's probably another 5 minutes away. So
coming home with a wet sail by the looks of it, the 18-footers bar and grill.
Does, yes. I think the Royal Oak had some trouble today, though. They
looked a little bit chicken winged up down here at the bottom mark when we took off. When I looked back just to see what was going on there, and I don't know whether they swam there, but
right,
definitely wasn't neat.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much their target time. So that was the race committee will be happy about that.
At 37 minutes.
37 and a half. Yep.
Okay.
So if they're 40-minute target time, which is good. I'm just wondering if the 18-footers bar and grill got any fresh seafood for the restaurant while they're in for a swim.
Prawn special tonight, you think?
Prawn cocktail. So, all right, that's going to give our good friends on the Rag and Famish a nice little buffer in the state championship. So we've also still got 2 races to go next weekend, Jim.
Yep. Yeah, next weekend, the 22nd.
You'll have your regular commentators back by then, hopefully.
Well, we hope so. If we can locate Dolly.
Yeah. Gone bush.
And that'll be the last race for the calendar year before we move on to the National Championships in January, which is in Brisbane.
Is there a race? Is there a club race prior to the National Championships?
Just next weekend. That's it.
And that's it, right? I was talking this morning with Rob Brown, and we were talking about the National Championships up in Brisbane, up in Vegas, and he was telling me, well, firstly, it's going to be run by the Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron, and they've got a sponsor up there, Wealth, WLTH. I think they specialise in refinancing and home loans and all that, so fantastic for them. Seems like Brownie's gone ahead and organised a boat for some corporate hospitality, which is... the
18-footers here, just on the screen.
Ooh, a little bit of carnage coming.
They don't look like they had much friends there with that vessel getting in their way. That's made their day a little bit more challenging and might deliver more prawns for the 18-footers bar.
Yep.
Just ducking back to the Australian Championships, look, it has been great to see the growth of the class up in Brisbane, and certainly, Dave Hayter and Rob Brown have done a great job at building that fleet up there and bringing the National Championships up there. I think everyone down here is pretty excited about it, and they certainly won't have to deal with lots of traffic on the harbour like we are today.
It's going to be like stepping back in time. The Australian Championships used to move around between the states, and so to get the boats back up there in Brisbane is good. So Dave Hayter, as you said, was be sailing the Bigfoot again. That was a new boat, I think, 2 seasons ago now. And the Wealth is a new boat this year, skippered by Josh Schloman, and they're going to carry the Wealth sponsorship logo for the championship. So two pretty much brand new boats, and we know that the Bigfoot is on form. So that's good.
It's great for the class, really. And then you add the New Zealand fleet in to the mix, and plus our German friends and some people from the UK, and we've got a pretty nice JJs coming up.
So just on screen at the moment, we've got the club spectator ferry. So I was out there the other day in that storm and hiding inside as that rain pelted down. So it's a great platform to watch the skiff racing from. Even get a cold beer on board.
We've enjoyed many a good race on the Spectator Ferry Cup. It's been great fun, and there's always. I think if you're ever in Sydney, if you're listening and watching from overseas, and you want something fun to do, really plan your schedule around coming out on a Sunday and watching the 18-footers on the harbour. It really is a spectacle. It's postcard sort of stuff, and what else would I like to be doing on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, well. No, it is fantastic. Look, it's probably still one of the cheapest Sunday afternoons out on Sydney Harbour.
Well, Alan Holmes is coming out from the UK via here to go out on the Spectator Ferry on his way to New Zealand to PRO some racing over there.
Fantastic.
So he's not our first international visitor to make their way out to come out on Sydney Harbour and watch the 18-footers.
Well, what we are talking about Sydney Harbour, we do travel around the world and there's some amazing waterways, but I tell you what, I never come across a waterway like this from a sailing perspective, where you've got so much sailing activity in such a condensed water space with so much other harbour traffic as well. And, it really does make it exciting.
So you're saying you like Sydney Harbour, Pat? Is that what you're saying?
I find it exciting.
Right.
Particularly when you're watching.
Just coming from a pit water boy, that's all. I was just trying to see where your loyalty lies.
You got me on that one, yeah. Absolutely. Just while we're waiting, so, probably worth talking, Cub, about the history. We did sort of start to talk a little bit about some of the sailors of past, but obviously being a 4th generation JJ winning member, and obviously your son Dan sailing on the bow of the mighty Vicovie, you've won 3 JJs yourself, 2 with Chesty Bond, with Trev Barnabas obviously, and then you had that amazing run on Prudential where you won every race of the States and Nationals and JJs, and then you then obviously got on the helm yourself with Xerox and won the New South Wales and Nationals, and weren't able to sail the JJs that year because of the 18's Grand Prix split. But look, mate, tell us about all that sailing you've done on the 18s. What was probably, like, every one of them would have been special, and we've only got 5 minutes before the next race. But quickly tell us, what was the most special time that you can remember, or times?
Oh, Pat, look, we were lucky to have a great career in the skiffs. Always say 18 years in 18-foot skiffs is pretty much what I did. But I got to sail with a lot of fantastic people along the way as well. But look, all the wins were a little bit different. When the Chesty Bond was the era of the wing war and the big rigs, 42'6" tall, number 1 rig, and we had 4 rigs back then. Now the boats now only have 2 to get them through the season. So look, there's the 5-minute gun for the start of the next race. So that was all good. That was hard slog. And but with the Prudential, we just had a fast boat, great crew, Michael Walsh, Neil Payton, and we just walked away with it, which was good for us. Probably not good for the fleet. I like to see a bit of competition, a bit of a challenge. So look, it was all good for different reasons.
Oh, well, fantastic stuff, and obviously Jimmy and I were probably kids back then watching it at school on TV, but
definitely were kids back then, yes.
A lot of people still remember the sailing being shown, especially in the Xerox era, in the lunch breaks of the Test cricket, and we've got a Test on at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think at school, Jimmy and I used to convince the school to put it on during their lunch breaks. It's a bit of fun. All right, so coming up to 4 minutes before the start of the second race today, which will be heat number 6 of the New South Wales Championships. Just up to weather, we're still seeing the 18-footers making their way down to the start. We're hoping they're going to get here in time.
Still got approximately 3.5 minutes to get here, so he's a chance. He's a good chance.
Got to feel sorry for him though, don't you? Joys of Sydney Harbour.
Well, that's what we were talking about before. It was about the race management of the harbour management, charter boats. It's a tough one. Like with the privately owned boats now, they're exponentially bigger. Like it used to be a 40-foot cruiser was a good family boat. Now the 80-foot cruiser's more popular and it comes with bigger wake and not necessarily any better idea about how to drive it. So.
Both you and I work on this harbour, and the things we hear on the working channel is you sometimes just shake your head in disbelief.
That's right. Keeps Shippo occupied anyway.
We should actually get him a radio for home so he can listen all the time.
Okay, there's the 18-footers bar and grill on screen. I'm confident they'll make it, yeah.
So it feels like we're just in a bit of down pressure at the moment. So we'll be interested to see how this start eventuates, although I can see some new pressure building off Clark Island, making its way down the course. But certainly a lot of potholes, I think, this next first beat.
Yeah, I think potholes is a good way to describe it. I think we got exactly the same for race 6 as we did race 5. So in terms of conditions, they're going to have to find that clear bit of air, a little bit of extra pressure, maybe a lift. Tide's still running out. See how they go.
Tide's just turned right now, Cubby, 15:30.
15:30.
So she's at the low.
Oh, okay. Tide's coming in.
Well, Bucko will have you convinced that it was just slack tide.
It's interesting how the tide does run in Sydney Harbour, and it can play a big part in some of your racing, but this race it's not going to affect too much.
No, and for the viewers at home, we're doing the same course, which is down here in Athol, working up into the vicinity of Rose Bay, a run down to Clark Island, back down here to Athol Bight, work back up to Rose Bay, and then a run to the finish back down here in front of the Taronga Zoo.
And of course, this is the short course racing for the state championships to enable us to get 2 races in per day.
And today the SKIFFS are racing for the Watt Trophy, Memorial Trophy.
And also, I believe, Jimmy, it's heats 7 and 8 of the club championship today as well.
Yeah, starting to sound like a NASCAR production.
Everyone's a winner.
Well, it's interesting. We've got a whole stack up here at the windward end of the line, and just a little puff of breeze coming on here, which could adjust everyone's time and distance a little bit.
30 seconds to go.
Looks like Sean Partner's pretty well placed on the start line there, but quite a fair stack of boats coming in from the committee boat end of the line. And as I said, this pressure just coming in here now, 10 seconds to go. Bit of a commotion here with Yandu and Lazarus and Vykobi's now involved. So that's pretty bad. And actually Rag and Famish is coming past them. They too could get caught up in that.
That's got to be looking like a general recall to me. But not seeing anything on the start boat as yet.
We're seeing a real commotion here at the boat end of the line. And all the major players, Rag and Famish.
Yeah, general.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, there we go. General recall just applied by the start boat.
Well, that's lucky because there was some real carnage up here at the boat end of the line. And I think that big gust of pressure that just came with 30 seconds to go really adjusted everyone's time and distance. And
Lazarus was in the thick of that.
Lazarus was well in the thick of that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Time to reset.
few people breathing a sigh of relief there, I think.
Absolutely. So there's no permanent damage on any of the boats.
But just having a look around, there doesn't seem... There was lots of screaming, but I don't think there's any breakages.
Yeah, to me it looked like Yandu somehow ended up on port tack, and that just created a chain of events that...
It's the domino effect, that one.
Yeah.
Just up the front of that spectator ferry near the wheelhouse is Harry Price. With his knee all strapped up there. There he is on the screen.
I think he's got them on speed dial.
Give us a wave, Harry. Oh, I feel sorry for Harry. He'd love to be out there. He's a competitor.
He really is. He really is. And he's match racing pedigree. He's a real fighter, and he just loves racing, right?
He does.
So I think being on the ferry today was probably not his ideal choice of ideal way of spending a Sunday.
No.
All right, so the general recall flag's down, and we haven't got a 5-minute signal yet, but I think we're now running down to 5 minutes 50 now, so we're back in starting sequence.
Breeze may have swung just a little bit further into the east. I don't know, what do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, actually. It does appear to be a little bit more into the left.
It's a good thing what they can do with the marks, they can move them to, like if the breeze does appear to be shifting, they can shift the whole course just slightly. It's a pretty cool thing without having to have
just
a mark boat go up there and manually do it.
It is great technology, that mark set bot, and obviously we saw it around America's Cup with them just literally changing course axes and lengths like with a click of a finger. So
pretty cool.
That was pretty cool, and you know, it's great to see technology.
5 minutes to the start.
Technology really, you know, improving the sport. All right, well, hopefully everyone got their nerves out of the way and they can get into it. And
starters staying calm. There's no black flag or...
Was that Yandu just before we saw almost have a swim? Was that right?
I think so, Pat.
Yeah. They might have been a bit rattled after that start.
4.5 minutes to go.
Well, that's a hard thing too, once you're involved in something like that, trying to get your nerves calmed down and get focused on what you're meant to be doing next. And I always found until the gun went again, and you could get stuck into it, you were just sort of a little bit rattled and a little bit don't want to be near that boat again and things like that.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether someone might attempt another port tack approach at least. Certainly there's just so many boats all stacking up on this commit end of the line.
Well, let's just keep a little bit of an eye on that. It's definitely an option for someone. Marine outlet down there at the moment on the left.
Is that start line length the same as the first race? It does look a tad shorter to me, but maybe maybe my eyes are deceiving me.
I think what's a little confusing is we've got the yellow mark on screen, which is not the pin end of the start line. So the black and white mark in the distance, which you just see on top of the start boat that there's a black and white mark, that's actually the pin end of the start line. So definitely seems like they may have moved that a little bit. Just
The average readings from the top mark, 12.1 knots at 133.
interestingly, Jimmy, have you got the lowest wind reading there?
I can ask for it.
Oh, no. At some stage up there, it's like, just a couple of knots.
Yeah.
Well, I do wonder though if that breeze has flicked a little to the left, whether there's a more consistent breeze line running at that top mark.
And it also looks like they may have eased that top mark a little bit to the left as well, so that'd be a little bit fairer for everyone.
Nice.
All right, still whether that first run is going to be a two-sail reach or is it going to be spinnakers up and go for it. What we did forget to do then was throw in the commentators' picks for the race 6. Jimmy?
That's why they put the general up.
Yeah, give us more time.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick with the Yandu, Jimmy, or have you seen something that we haven't?
Yeah, well, you really can't go past Rag and Famish, but I think, Yandu, yes, again, I'll stay, I'll hold.
Oh, hold.
Yep, stay
Hold
on
'em.
them.
Hold 'em, poker. Pat?
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, you can't. The Rag, the way they sailed that last race, would be pretty hard to go past. But look, I really like the way the Lazarus sailed that last one, so I'm gonna back them for this one.
All right, you go the Lazarus, and I'll stick with the Vycobi boys.
Fair enough.
They had their nose up there in that race, so let's just see. Might have got rid of a bit of dust that first race. Now they're into it.
Well, probably by me not backing him might help.
Isn't it your fault, Pet?
It always is. Sponsor's curse, evidently. We're coming up to 1 minute now, and the boats are certainly holding back on the line this time around on their approach. I can see down to leeward Lazarus that's setting up for a port tack approach, so we'll be keen to see how that eventuates for them.
Okay,
I just don't think the line's long enough to, you're going to have to really stick to your guns if you're going to go for the port hander, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty challenging at the moment, but
well, look at the shot on screen there just before. That's where the majority of boats are just mid-line at the moment. Just starting to wind up a little bit. We've got 22 seconds to go. So Lazarus is sticking for his port hander. Let's see how that happens.
But looking at Finport and Rag and Famish, the most lured boats of that pack, they're just starting to sheet on now and accelerate to the line.
Just off screen here to the left, we've got Yandu coming in, so keep an eye on them. They're going to be the highest up the course. There's Vycobi. Here's Yandu coming in now, and they're off.
That's a clear start to me.
Yeah, clear. A little bit of a late start for a couple of the boats. So Yandu just a few boat lengths back. That's probably not
Lazarus
going
happy to take everyone's stern to get out to this right-hand side of the course.
Okay, that's Rag and Famish form from the last race. So, look, there's if he gets out into the middle, there's a little bit of extra breeze out there. Yeah, good pressure.
Yeah. Well, what we were seeing in the first race is those guys that got up close to Clark Island, they got more pressure and lifting pressure.
Well, I think you get a little bit of a southerly slant out of Double Bay, so that's not hurting any of them.
But I think Vycobi's got probably the best line out of this start here. They've been able to hold a pretty nice lane and are looking pretty solid out of everyone here on starboard tack. But Yandu just on their hip as well, looking not too bad.
Yandu's got the potential to hold the Vycobi right into the shore there, so tactically an advantage there for the Yandu, I think.
Same at the right-hand side of the
little
screen.
Little capsize on the left of the screen here.
So gotcha for life.
Okay. They've run out of gas. Yandu tack. That gives Vycobi a lane to the right if they want it. Okay.
And Rag's just coming out on port tack there, just taking a stern, a big stern drop, duck on bow main.
Looks
but
like
has got through.
Charter boat in the middle of the action there. But Rag and Famish has executed beautifully there. Hard to do that bear away in a short distance, and if you get it wrong, you'll bury the bow and trip over yourself. But the Vycobi's going to make it all the way into the Bradley's Head shore.
Yeah, they should come out of here pretty nice. They're in nice pressure there.
Probably our current race leaders, I'm suspecting. Right, they're all stretched out pretty nicely on the trapeze and using a bit of main sheet. So, we're in the 12, 15 knots range here.
And just notes they're tacked on a port, so now all boats are now on port tack.
Would have liked to have seen them come another 2 or 3 boat lengths just so they got.
Well, they probably couldn't because the camera boat was in the way.
Yeah, we weren't. We were hanging back. There's 4.8 metres under us.
Okay, so yeah, here's our leading pack. So, you got Finport just punched down a little bit to leeward there from Rag and Famish with Vycobi just up to weather. And we also got 6th and Balmain. Interestingly to note, Lazarus that did the port tack approach that made all the ducks, it hasn't worked for them at this stage. They're coming back on starboard tack way down the field. So so that manoeuvre didn't work for them. But to me, it looks like Finport's just legging it out here a little bit with pace, looking pretty solid.
I've just got my eyes on the Rag and Famish there, Pat. He seems to be holding a slightly higher line through there, sailing very high, which is letting him hang in there.
Yeah, almost got pretty nice windward heel action going on too.
I think he's half a degree higher than the other boats.
Yeah, the Rag's really in a nice pressure line now.
Finport just knocking away an extra couple of degrees in the distance too. So I think if we tack, like we're above, Rag and Famish is going to hit the lead here, I think. He can just tack underneath the Finport and sail higher than him.
Well, just looking up ahead, you know, it's pretty interesting. There's a few potholes, and I think being able to get across in pressure is going to be key here. All boats now tacking on the port, so...
Like Kobe just tacked in, just slightly to lure to the rest of the fleet.
It's probably not a bad manoeuvre because the more we go up to this Point Piper, it's looking a little light and waffly, so... I think Rag, though, certainly was the pick along that port tack. They were certainly sailing higher and faster than everyone else, and now are sitting in a really nice spot on the long starboard tack back towards Shark Island.
If they're thinking about their approach angle into that top mark, it's probably better to be a little bit further out from underneath the headland like the Vycobi have done. But still like the position of Rag and Famish, and he is sailing, I think, just a little bit higher than Finport.
Yeah, it's a tricky one here, but too, though, because you tack too soon, you fall out of the breeze line. You know, every now and then we're getting some breeze that's actually coming off the hill that you can't see and providing quite a big right-hand shift. So you can just see up here Balmain just enjoying one of those puffs.
Oh, absolutely. Big right-hander here for Balmain. But also in the distance, six in the distance. He's a little advanced on the rest of the boats, and he's travelling quite fast, but he's probably in the clearest of all the air. So
he is. So yeah, Balmain really well up here in the right at the moment. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to last for, but
it just popped a crew member in there now, so the breeze has got a little bit lighter for the Balmain.
Yeah, made some nice gains. Good to see. But Rag and Famish still looking pretty nice in the middle there. Most likely the boat with the most options.
Vycobi settled into a bit of a rhythm there, nice and flat. Seems to be going quite fast. Just edged out from underneath the Finport there, Pat. But yeah, I think six have positioned themselves nicely in the furthest boat from us anyway.
Yeah, they've done a good little legging along here. They can get a nice shift to the left to get back, they'll be in the mix.
So I just noticed that Yandu's just come in behind the camera boat and slowed down a little as well. I think they're starting to feel the lee from Point Piper here now. Balmain's got a crew member in. The 4 leading boats are still in pretty good pressure out there.
They sure are.
Just choosing that slightly wider lane from the top mark.
I think it's a little bit coupled how we were talking before about the slight shift to the left. It's keeping the breeze in the left, whereas it's getting a little lighter in the right-hand side of the course here. So these boats that are, you know, working their way towards Shark Island, I think are going to stay in pressure.
Yeah. Look, the key in any sailing race is to keep your boat moving, isn't it? Like, sometimes you can go backwards to make a gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, 6th is just tacked. He's, at this stage, looking like he's on a lay to the top mark, which is just in front of us.
Yeah, they managed to get some nice separation there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And I just think they put the bow down a little bit, had pressure, and probably just, you know, working on their maximum speed.
I'm not sure if they'll get to Vycobi. I think Vycobi are still crossing them, but certainly they're in the mix. So
sure.
At the moment, to me, it looks like we've got the Rag and Famish with a tight battle between Finport and Vycovie for second.
They've definitely moved this top mark. It's further into Rose Bay now, so the officials have decided to lengthen the course just a little here. Not much, but a little. And I was completely wrong about 6 being on a lay there. They've got a few more tacks to go here.
If the top mark was where it was before,
Yeah,
I'd probably let you off
Had the
the
rug pulled from underneath us there. So it looks like Rag and Famish are not settled into the lead again. So Joss will be happy with that. The Vycovie is going to be challenging for second or third, and the Finport's just behind Rag and Famish. So Finport just coming on screen. They're sailing really well this race. They would have been a little disappointed after that first race. They are more than capable of winning. Again.
So Vycovie's just done a tack up on the Port lay line, a bit of a slow tack, so I think that's going to allow Finport to squeeze into second place.
I'll tell you who's in the mix still, and just coming in from the left is Balmain just coming in. You can see Kitchen Maker 6, and then Balmain's the next one. So he's actually quite high up the course. So let's see how this pans out. So Rag and Famish elected to go straight for the Spinnaker to get him out from underneath the Leah Point Piper.
Vycovie massively over. The Kitchen Maker's done the same, and so has Lazarus.
Yeah. We're going to see Vycovie around in third, just ahead of Balmain, which is great. Rag and Famish Spinnaker set on their way. Finport Spinnaker set, just pulling the final sheet on now. Just followed Balmain in fourth. 6 in fifth. Kitchen Maker just approaching the mark now in 6. Now the losers for that leg are probably Lazarus. That port-handed start didn't help him one bit.
And Yandu just rounded the top mark now. I think they've got a bit of work to do to get themselves back in the pack.
So this is a bit of a game of cat and mouse down this Spinnaker run, Pat, because at some stage they'll have to drop those Spinnakers to actually lay the next mark. So it's all about the timing.
Sure is. Yeah, Finport's got some nice height there in that pack.
6. Yandu just stuck in a lee here, having a little bit of trouble exiting underneath Point Piper.
Okay, so you can see the boats now really working hard to get themselves up to the Clark Island laid mark. So they're all going to have to take their Spinnakers off at some point. But I do believe that they're trying to keep themselves in the maximum pressure. So getting themselves below the mark, then 2 sailing back up to really avoid this sort of lighter.
Just light in the distance, we're seeing Rag and Famish just starting to lift up a little. Might have eased off a little bit down the course. Oh, here we go, a bit of nice manoeuvre there, Jimmy. Well done.
So,
a little bit of wash from a spectator. Just watching the boats behind us go through that wash, they're through.
Shippo would have had something to say about that bloke.
Yeah.
Oh, but Yandu actually has done a pretty neat job here. They've really kept a nice high line, and they're really eating into the pack. Fang Warren and Louis Brake, they really know how to make a boat sail a tight angle. And
Louis a monster. Have you seen him manhandle that boat?
Look at him.
Yeah, he loves it.
They're just holding this thing, and they're gonna take 3 or 4 spots out of this.
Well, Finport's just getting mapped off the course at the moment. No. They've hung on to their Spinnakers longer than I thought they would, Pat.
Yeah.
Starting to see mass takedowns here. Rag and Famish have decided to get their Spinnaker away. Finport's knocking their Spinnaker off. Vycovie's doing the same. And just behind them, Balmain. It's a crew work war when you start dropping the Spinnakers. There's got to be some coordination for the forward end to get that Spinnaker away. But you still need to maintain a bit of power to get yourself to the next mark. So Finport's Just on a bit of a heel there, but they're good.
You know, the heart rate's really pumping right now. You know, they had to go for a drop, and then 30 seconds later, we're going for another hoist
That'll
again.
be a jibe set probably if.
Yep.
I know they're just setting and. Right, Rag's elected to set straight up to the mark.
Great work by Max Paul and Tom Anderson there. They really got their chute popped and off they go, with Finport just rounding in second place there.
Yep. Good set on the Finport. Big arms there.
Almost
Looks
there.
like the third spot's going to be by Kobe this time round, followed closely by Balmain, and in the distance the Kitchen Maker.
And you've got 6 in the Andu as well, Cub.
Yep.
Coming in hot.
All right, those two are a little higher, just to our right.
Kobe just going for the set there.
Yeah, big windward set.
Big set for the boys. But sitting there in third place, and just ahead of them, it's worth noting that the Rag and Famish and Finport have both jibed on the starboard jibe. So I don't think Kobe can spend much time on port here. They'll need to get on the starboard pretty quick.
I know too, Balmain just did a jibe set around this mark, so they've already opted to head down to the bottom mark.
Yeah.
As we speak, the Kobe's gone too, Pat, so
We're looking all right, hey? We should be okay.
fingers crossed. 6 sailing well again. They're in the top 6 at this stage. Better race by the Burrowing today, just coming in from the right.
Yeah, I think that a breeze, that boats that jibes straight to the mark and not laying, they're going to have to do another 2 more jibes. And even Kobe, the angle that they're on,
Plenty happening back at the wing mark there too at the moment. There's a few boats coming in hot. Some of these boats are going to have the Manly Ferry to contend with too, coming out of Circular Quay. So that's not stopping the Rag and Famish at this stage. So we've got fourth and fifth on screen currently. The Balmain in 4th spot, the Andu 5. Here's our race leaders, Rag and Famish, going round the bottom mark for the first time. That's completed the first lap. Finport hot on their heels this race. So it's the series leaders there battling it out for first and second.
Yeah, the 2 full boats having a battle, but the Rag and Famish has got an issue with their spinnaker there.
A bit of trouble with the spinnaker drop there on the Rag and Famish. There's
and I think that they're going to relinquish first place here on the Rag, but just got
for how long?
For how long? Good question.
Okay, Kobe on screen. They'll jibe back. There's should be just a jibe drop for the Kobe. Yeah.
Got some pressure with Balmain coming in here. Balmain are going to squeeze it in with a big drive drop late, so be interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of carnage here at the bottom mark, I think.
But everyone's applying the brakes, taking a
Looking
ticket.
for a lane. Maybe the Kobe's going to get inside Balmain there.
Yeah, they do.
Just.
Well called.
Just. Still not settled on the Kobe. Spinnaker's not away in the bag. How are we looking?
Same on Balmain.
And same on 6. You know, all the boats coming in tight here, but actually, interestingly, the Andu, we've got their shoot in the bag.
I think all the Forodans are looking for a bit of oxygen at the moment.
Yeah, tough old leg, that one, you think about it.
Up, down, round, a few jibes and a couple of quick drops. So
Nice cool heads there on the Burrowing Hotel.
Absolutely. We've got Lazarus just coming here hot on a nice puff of pressure ahead of Smeg. Going for an early drop, but they are in a fair bit of pressure, so...
Smeg's not going to get near the bottom mark unless he takes that chute off soon.
They're just going for the drop now on the Smeg.
Just an update, the Rag and Famish up in the ahead of us there. Looks like they've got over their troubles with their spinnaker and settled back into it. So there's going to be the battle royale up there, I think, for the first and second.
Yeah, I think Finport looks just a little bit stacked to weather of them. So certainly they did make a bit of a loss there, but it will be interesting to see how this plays out.
Lazarus around now and just coming in behind them is Smeg. Just a little bit up pressure here at the bottom mark this time. It's sort of 12 to 15 knot range.
Kept them on their toes.
Okay. Race leaders. Finport followed very closely by the Rag and Femish. So, just going off the last work, Rag and Femish have opted for the lower lane here, which seemed to help on the last work. Let's just see how far Finport goes before he tacks to cover.
Well, Finport's just sailing into that puff of breeze, and they look very bow down at the moment. I think he's got his eye on this Manly ferry that's just coming by, and he's just trying to judge when to tack. I think the ferry's now going to go behind him, just coming into view on screen now. So
I'm not sure of Keegan's tactics there. He's leading the race, and he's let Rag and Femish head off to the east. So
it's a lot of separation.
Let's see how that goes. It's a big downer for the Finport. Finport's tacked in the background. Rag and Femish heading off to the east. He's tacking back. So Finport have played their card. They look all right at the moment. They're now bow up.
Yeah, it's off screen on the left where you see Rag and Famish coming on port. They are in pressure. It's just I don't know if the angle's great. I do think that Finport is looking a little solid, more solid in the right, you know, in that nice breeze line, and I suspect the Rag's not going to get near them and they're going to have to tack back onto port. However, the Spectator ferry is another obstacle for them, which will have to dictate where they'll tack.
Just coming in from the right of your screen, just can't see them just yet, but the Finport's picked an amazing tack there. They're lifting into Double Bay.
Risky move though, Cup, letting the cover go up the last work. But, I guess they've seen what they were seeing, and Gus Williams on board there, he's always got his eyes out of the boat on that. And
they're 5 degrees higher than what the boats were the last time up.
I'd call that a calculated risk.
Calculated. I don't own a calculator, Pat.
You've probably got one on your phone, Jimmy.
Oh, I might.
But Finport's extended here.
Yeah, advantage Finport, definitely. And you know, the Rags actually moved back into the pack now. Is under pressure from 4 boats, being the Vicovie, Balmain, Yandu, and 6. So I think Finport's now in a clear lead, and it's a battle for second.
Just a little lift there for the Rag and Femish, so they're getting them up a bit closer to the Finport. They definitely sailed across this middle part of the course with a little bit more pressure, but as we're looking up the course, it's getting light.
Getting light, and it's a bit of a tough spot here for Vicovie to live. They've got a long starboard tack across here to Rose Bay, so if they can live here in this spot, they'll be doing well. But looking to weather with them, there is breeze coming down from the right, so there will be opportunities to get a bit of gauge off Balmain, and it's certainly doing a good job.
You can see the front headsail there, just luffing ever so slightly. That's Kirk, the skipper, trying to gain maximum height there. The Balmain's pushing them hard there, holding them out.
Yeah, and just actually to leeward of Balmain and Vicovie, actually, you can see the Rag and Famish really falling out of pressure and is well bound down. I think they've definitely sailed out of pressure, and Balmain and Vicovie are up in the right, so Balmain now just starting to be affected by that same decrease in pressure, and I'd imagine Vicovie will have the same thing happen to them shortly. Although, I hope they prove me wrong.
Burrowing on screen there. Now he went out to the right, and he's just got a slightly higher lane to the top mark, and he seems to be just sitting there nicely. It's look, it's going to get lighter for them, but at the moment he's in a pretty good line. Yeah,
Balmain's really out of pressure now.
Vicovie's down as well.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. It's that pressure line under Point Piper
Just got to change gears, don't you?
Change gears, but it's interesting. You can get these puffs that roll off the hill that are not on the water, and every now and then they just get a little bite from the right. It does lure you up to the right.
But in the distance, Finport's they've changed to second gear. They're off.
They are off.
They're high and fast.
Well, Keegan was out commentating yesterday, so you must have given him a tip or two, Jimmy.
Mate, the best tip I gave him was gave him Gus Williams' phone number.
I think you've mentioned that before, Jimmy.
Well, whatever Gus has whispered to him, it's worked. And they're having a blinder right now.
Yeah. Keegan's doing a lot of sailing at the moment. Like he's into everything that sails on water.
Yeah, he just told me he's just been given he's going to be sailing on the Wild Thing down to Hobart. He just got the call up this week, so I think he's
Wild
pretty
Thing
excited.
100, yeah.
The Wild Thing 100 that with the 80-footer mast. It just does pass the, I don't know if I can say the word, but the shitter rule.
Finport just preparing to tack, and
You can say what you like, Pat. You're one of the big sponsors down here, so you can say what you like.
We don't want to offend. But Finport looking pretty nice here on a nice lay.
yeah, look, I think they've judged that pretty well, Pat. A lot of the boats have been overlaying this top mark and costing them precious seconds, so looks like Finport's going to have a comfortable lead when they get to the top mark here.
And just to remind viewers, this is our last run down back to the finish from here. So
Straight back to Athol.
straight back to Athol. So barring a major catastrophe, these guys are looking pretty good.
Now there's an emerging battle for second. We've got Rag and Famish coming into the mark next, and Yandu hot on their heels. So
Yeah, I think Rag and Famish, I think they're just laying here, Cup.
there's a bit of down angle. The breeze has swung a little bit into the south here for these two guys. So
The
let's see.
seaplane taking off to weather might just give them a nice lift.
And maybe an extra 30 knots.
It's a tight lay.
Yeah, Rag and Famish are just squeezing their way to the top mark, closely followed by Yandu.
And I think Yandu's probably the one that's looking more in trouble here to lay.
I think they'll get there. It's just they're going to be sort of shooting the mark a little bit. Vykobi needs to tack.
See where these marks set bots where in previous years you're allowed to hit the marks per se. With the mark set bots, it's frowned upon. Obviously.
No, so Yandu's just hit that top mark.
So what does that mean, frowned upon? Does that mean that you now need to do a penalty turn?
Well, I don't know. I don't think it is a penalty turn, but it's...
Okay.
Okay, so at this stage they're still allowed to hit them legally, but it's not encouraged.
Exactly.
Got it.
Just noting during that the mark moved some 20 feet because of Yandu dragging it along, but it actually just went straight back to where it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Not
pretty
the
cool,
GPS,
isn't it?
Yeah, the GPS setting. Go down and get the report.
Okay, so we've got all the boats here just setting and Kitchemaker rounding as well. It still is very light up here at the top. So,
6. Oh, hang on to it, boys.
They've got it.
There's a couple of boats got that clearing gust there. All right, 6 just fell foul of the Dardanelles here. Run out of breeze underneath Point Piper.
Kitchenmaker just to the left of screen, just...
Oh, Kitchenmaker struggling. You've got a spinnaker full of water.
I think they're going to save it. I think they're good.
That's it. We're good. Good save.
All right, so all boats on Port Jive here, making their way down to the finish. Down at Athol.
So Finport's bow down, heading towards the finish line. He's got himself a nice line, so he's the clear leader now.
And we've got a battle, I think, between Yandu and Rag and Famish. I think Yandu's really been making their way around around the field and working their way through. So could be a battle, pretty tight battle there between the two of them, but still Rag and Famish clearly in second.
Rag and Famish has just picked up a line. That might help them hold second spot down. Yandu's been pushing him all the way.
So on screen there, the two boats battling for second. Rag and Famish, about a 6 or 7 boat length lead from Yandu, with Mika Lane skippering today. Fourth place behind them, we've got Balmain and then Vykobi in fifth. But there's our race leader making his way to the finishing line, Finport. Keegan York.
They've just jumped away.
Gus Williams, who we think made the right win call, and Phil Marshall. They'd be much happier in this race, wouldn't they, compared to the first race today?
Yeah, well, as we alluded to earlier on, this is the first time they've sailed together as a crew, so, a lot of gelling has to go on. And
Good shot of Yandu on screen. They're currently third, but they're chasing the Rag and Famish in second spot.
I tell you what, downwind, they've looked fast today. When you got Louis Brake really putting it out there, they've certainly made some gains, because they were very deep at the first on mark today.
Very deep, yeah.
So they've sailed very well to come back to third.
All right, Finport driving into the finish line now. It's going to be... all right, there's our race winner, Finport. Now the battle for second, Rag and Famish.
I think the Rag is probably still going to need a jibe.
They're both going to have the job, I think, Ken. But Rag and Famish just getting into a line of breeze there. Let's just see if that helps. And still on screen. Look, I think they're pretty safe.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good.
They've got one jibe left. There's a little bit of pressure on them. Let's follow them as they go through the jibe. The forward hands through.
Simo jibe.
Here we go. Nice and flat. Rag and Famish sheeted on. Heading for the finish line. So that's going to give us Finport first. Rag and Famish second. Hotly contested for third by the Yandu. What's the battle for fourth got for us, Pat?
Well, yeah, we've got Balmain in clear fourth at the moment. They've made a jibe. They'll probably lay on that jibe, and then Vykobi in fifth place. So that will most likely be our top five today. I'll tell you what's interesting. Rag and Famish has got to be pretty happy with today. A 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
They would definitely be our overall leaders.
Definitely, yeah. With 2 races still to sail next weekend. And a drop will come into play. So, but that might allow Finport to drop their worst race, which was race 5 today. So, well, at this stage.
And Balmain just finishing here in fourth place.
All right.
Good day for the guys there in Balmain. Done well, and here it is, the mighty Vykobi. The big V coming across the line
For
in
another
fifth place.
Yeah.
2 fifths today for Vykobi.
Consistent, if nothing else. 2 fifths, 2 sixths.
Yeah, they get there. They're building cup.
2 fourths would be nice next week.
This next placing is going to be, looks pretty
Looks like
tight.
Burrowing. Yeah.
I'm hoping we'll get there.
Yeah. Look, he's got nice pressure coming in there, Jimmy. He doesn't have to jibe again. He's heading for the finish line.
It's a good race for the Burrowang with Simon and Max Nern and Cam McDonald.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
That's a 6 for them. Going to be interesting between the Kitchen Maker and 6. Probably the Kitchen Maker is going to be able to lay this finish line without another jibe.
Yep. I think Kitchen Maker are going to have this.
So there's Kitchen Maker through. 6 done well again. Lazarus, double disappointed in that race.
Yeah, that poor tack approach just didn't work for him, did it?
No. Coming through the SMEG on screen, Nathan McNamara and his crew. They'll be disappointed with today's efforts.
Yeah, I think so. They would be. You know, they typically like this light stuff, those guys.
Yeah, we've seen them sail better races than that to date. So we've got a couple of boats still at the top end of the course, including the Gotcha for Life.
Gotcha for Life and Noakes.
Is that Noakes, Beck?
Yeah, with a blue spinnaker.
Yep.
And then I can see a red hull capsized.
I'm seeing that as well, I think.
And we did see the Royal Oak. They went past just as we were coming to the finish and looked like they had terminal Vang issues, and they're just off Rushcutters Bay tacking, so I don't think they're in the race anymore.
And the 18-footers bar and grills just setting the yellow spinnaker up at the top end of the course.
Looks like another wet spinnaker.
Big waves around, Pat.
Yeah, perfect. Well, while we got that, let's recap the top 10 in this last race. So we had Finport in first, we had Rag and Famish in second, Yandu in third, Balmain in fourth, Vicovia fifth, the Burrowang Hotel in sixth, Kitchen Maker in seventh, sixth in eighth, Lazarus in ninth, and Smeg in 10th.
Rounding up the top 10. Right.
So I think we'll wrap things up there. Thank you very much for joining us, Cub and Pat. It was an absolute pleasure having you guys on board. Fresh voices always is nice. So it's great to have you guys on board, and I hope you guys have a safe Christmas. And the shop's still open, Pat, if people need stuff?
Oh, mate, Vicovia.com's always open.
All right, so there you go. Tell them the boys at Sale Media sent you, and they'll look after you.
Absolutely.
But no, thanks very much, guys. I really do appreciate it, and getting a different perspective and a bit of insight from Cubby's always and wisdom is good. And thanks to the team here, Piers, Sam, Dylan, Chits. Awesome job as always, guys. So this has been a Sale Media production for the Australian 18 Footer Club.